Hello everyone out there in YouTube land, and welcome to episode 2 of FanTalk. I am M.L.S. Weech, author of the Journals of Bob Drifter, and my new upcoming novel, Caught, which comes out on January 28th. Here on FanTalk, I am discussing all things fantasy and science fiction, where I get to geek out and talk about the coolest things that come to my mind. This week, I'm talking about the top 5 awe-inspiring characters from the Wheel of Time. By awe-inspiring, what I mean are characters who did something that was so awesome with their magical ability that I literally stopped reading and thought, wow, that was really awesome. So let's get things kicked off here with number 5, Andral. Andral's a very interesting character because he's not actually that powerful, except when it comes to these things called gateways. Gateways are how magic users in this world travel great distances. Andral uses these in amazing ways. The first time I remember seeing him very specifically, he's working some leather, and he uses a very tiny gateway to kind of clip an extra piece that he needs off. He uses it to make tea, and then in A Memory of Light, he uses it to channel a gateway so large it actually brings lava from a volcano to wipe out an entire force. That scene was jaw-dropping, was amazing. Andral isn't someone that you see throughout the whole series, and he doesn't really get prominent until Brandon Sanderson took over in the later books. But this character in that moment definitely deserves a spot on this list. So let's keep things moving with number 4 on my list, Perrin Ibarra, who is my favorite character in Wheel of Time. A lot of people are going to call me out on this as a cheater because Perrin doesn't use the one power. He doesn't have to. He's a Dreamwalker and a Wolf Brother. Some people may argue it's the same thing, but there are some differences. That being said, he's awesome at either. In this case, I'm speaking specifically about his fight with Slayer in A Memory of Light. Spoiler alert for this segment, so if you want to skip ahead to number 3, go ahead. And your chance is up. Perrin uses his ability as a dreamer to affect the final battle in the series. In this case, he's taking on a character named Slayer, and he's doing so to protect all of his friends. This battle with Slayer is really awesome because they keep flipping from the dream world to the real world, and in my mind, it was one of the more imaginarily cinematic scenes for me. I really fell into it. It reminded me of a battle between teleporters or a battle between people flipping into different universes. This scene was particularly, to me, it was the most compelling fight scene in the final battle, and the way Perrin won by dragging Slayer into a nightmare really blew my mind. The fight scene as a whole was awesome, and I think that is what elevates him onto a list where most of the other, in fact, all of the other characters you see on it are going to be users of the one source. And now we're ready to move on to number 3 on my list, and this is probably where a lot of people are going to start wanting to argue with me. That's fine. This is my list, not yours. If you want to give me your list, or you want to tell me why I got it wrong, let me know down in the comments below. Until then, let me get my list out. Let me explain myself to you a little bit. We're going to start with number 3, though, which is Egwene Alvear. Now, Egwene Alvear is a fascinating character in and of herself. She's someone I'm going to do a character study on because she does a lot, particularly in what I think fiction writers should do with female characters in fantasy. Egwene Alvear does a lot of awesome things. She's very intuitive with the power. She basically stumbles upon the idea for gateways. She stumbles upon a lot of different weaves that are all awesome in themselves. But the moment that really dropped my jaw was when she countered Balefire. The thing that makes it impressive isn't just that she finds a weave that can literally burn the fabric of the Wheel of Time away. She does this after having lost her warder, and if you read the series, you see throughout the whole saga the effect that losing a warder has on an Aes Sedai, and you see the effect that losing an Aes Sedai has on the warder. It's basically a tremendous emotional blow. It's a tremendous physical blow because they rely on each other in a somewhat symbiotic relationship. So thinking about how she took on this opponent, thinking about how she used her mind and her ability to counteract what is easily the most devastating use of the one power, to counter that while under this duress, while fighting this battle, and then having the presence of mind to explain to other people how to handle things before she loses the fight. I'm not 100% certain she lost her life. There was a funeral, but the way that she went out was one of the most heroic, and that use of the power and that use of the weave was awesome in and of itself. I was also a big fan at the moment. I think it was in book 13 when she breaks someone's mind in the dream world. I personally think Perrin could take her in the dream world. I've had a few people in fact, I think even Brandon Sanderson said that Egwene would win that fight, but I would not really want to bet on that. So, Egwene Alvear comes out number 3. I know you're all disappointed, but I think real followers of the power and the jaw-dropping moments will forgive me for who I want to move on to with number 2. And, in fact, number 2 is Nynaeve Almira. Nynaeve Almira deserves to be number 2 on this list because everything the Aes Sedai say can't be done, she turns around and does. Every time someone says, no, we tried doing this, you can't do this, you can't do this with the power doesn't work this way. She's like, no, watch this. And then she does it within the span of that novel. She heals stilling and gentling. She finds a cure for the madness using the one power. She helps Rand al'Thor cleanse the source. So there's no doubt on my mind that Nynaeve deserves to be on this list for any number of those reasons. She's also a fascinating character, although she's not as amazing in herself as Egwene is. But in terms of how she uses the power and how badass she looks while fighting with the power, I definitely give her the nod on this list. I don't think anyone had any doubt that Rand al'Thor was going to be at the top of this list. He certainly delivered the most awe-inspiring moments. I want to talk about a few. One of the ones that was really big on my list was in book 4 when the little girl dies and he tries to bring her back. Moraine looks at him and says, hey, you can't do this, but she doesn't say it the way people tell Nynaeve things can't be done. She says it to Rand as if she's worried he will pull it off, but it's something that should not be done. And that was a very shocking moment. It's for me the first time when I realized just how powerful Kalendor is and just how powerful Rand is in comparison to everyone else. Then there was, of course, when he destroyed that entire building using balefire, another tragic moment in where he was in the series. And then, of course, there was the fact that he did indeed beat the Dark One. He broke the prison, remade it, and sealed the Dark One in, all without even losing or tainting the one power. That is impressive in and of itself. But for me, one of those subtle moments that I thought was really jaw-dropping was when he had all this power in, and I thought he was getting ready to loose some sort of mega balefire out in the world, or even try to kill himself. But when he has all that power and he's on the peak of Dragonmount in the end of book 13, and he just lets it go. And when you think about all the things Rand al'Thor does, in that moment when he lets that power go and he lets himself choose to be who he wants to be, that to me helped elevate him even that much farther beyond any of the other characters and the moments they had throughout the series. And that's it. That's my top 5 Wheel of Time characters, top 5 Wheel of Time awe-inspiring moments at the very least. I might do several different blogs from this. I'm a huge fan of lists. I'm a huge fan of top 5s, and I really like talking about moments that were just completely out of control awesome. And I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you disagree with my list or you have a different interpretation or you want to provide evidence on why one should rank higher, please do so in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor, subscribe to the video blog. Head on over to my blog at mlsweech.wordpress.com. And you can also subscribe to my email list at mlsweech@gmail.com. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.